segment where I talk about most things fashion, all for him, and today I am talking about my experience as a Christian fashion student. If you are a believer yourself and you are planning to major or study in fashion, then keep watching. So just a short backstory before fashion school. I attended one of the United States' largest Christian schools on more of the East Coast, and I was in their fashion program. I do air quotes because they didn't really have a fashion program, and it was actually called Family and Consumer Sciences, or FAC. And in their program, I learned how to sew. And of course, being at a college university, we talked about modesty a lot. So how God views modesty, how God views fashion. I would say the program there just kind of scratched and swiped the surface of the fashion industry because all we had was a sewing class, and that was pretty much it. So I moved to the Philippines about a year later, where I applied and got accepted into one of the Philippines' top fashion schools. Classes there were definitely more well-rounded and in-depth of the fashion industry sphere. I had classes like sewing and pattern making and draping, fashion illustration, apparel production, and then we even went into event production and obviously learning about the culture of the Philippines and their traditional dress. The culture was definitely different than my former school. It was polar and complete opposite. I remember when I was in the Philippines and in fashion school and I saw a box of cigarettes in the back of this girl's pocket. I was staring at it because I felt like an RA was gonna notice and reprimand her. Oh my gosh, that's just how extremes of my college experience was. So the biggest lessons and takeaways of me being a Christian fashion student is, number one, your inner appearance is definitely more important than your outer appearance. Being in an environment where all you're talking about is your outer appearance, and you couldn't help it because that's what your homework assignment was on, that's what your in-class projects were on. It was all about the outer appearance. I was definitely reminded that it was the inner appearance that outweighs the outer appearance. If you have an ugly heart, it doesn't matter what you're wearing on the outside because it's on the inside that matters. Lesson number two is that you can still be fashionable while being modest. I'm not the type to show a lot of skin anyways. That's just not me. That's just not my style. But a lot of the girls there showed that you really don't have to anyways. I feel like some people would think that at a fashion school you'd see a lot of people wearing, tight clothes or something, or showing a lot of skin, but that was definitely not the case here. And I don't know if it's because the Philippines is more of a conservative country, but you definitely didn't see a lot of immodesty. If anything, it was more so on how you styled yourself and how you styled your outfit. So you had the girls that were edgy and they had their side shave, or the girls that were super girly and they had their bright colors and floral, or those who were just kicking it casual, wearing, chucks and a t-shirt and jeans, and I was all three of those. But with all of that, they didn't show much skin anyways, but yet they were still really fashionable. They were really expressive with their outfit and with their wardrobe, and you can just sense their style and their creativity behind their outfit that they put together without showing skin, without being immodest. Lesson number three was fighting the comparison bug, and this obviously goes for anyone, any human being, even if you're not a believer, but I compared myself so much with classmates there, not only with their wardrobe but their work. I thought I was a terrible sewer. I couldn't drape for my life. I had to ask for help in pattern making all the time. When you're just looking at everyone's projects and their work right there and then, and everyone's oohing and awing, and I was just blown away by the talent of some of these classmates. And I look at my own work and see that it's less creative, less just bleh. I compared myself with others' wardrobe too, because I was a commuter, so it took me an hour and a half to get to and from school, and in the Philippines heat, even in the morning, it is hot. I literally come to school is a little nasty, but I literally come to school like drenched. I had to bring my makeup again. I had to like bring a face towel just to like dab myself. Seeing the other girls who, you know, didn't have to commute, had their drivers, and you know, they were looking so fresh, and I was just like in the corner melting, literally. I eventually look back on my experience of commuting, and I just think of how much character it built me, because it's like a battle going into that. And when I came to my work, I just knew that I had to stay in my own lane and of course gain help and inspiration from the others around me. My work came from my brain, and God made my brain. I just worked and did the best that I could. Of course, we can all be our own worst critics, right? I just worked real hard and stayed in my lane and knew that someone out there, even if it was just my mom, thought my work was special. Lesson number 4 of being a Christian fashion student was loving everyone. This is probably one of the biggest transitions coming from my former Christian university to the Philippines, and I did have a lot of gay classmates and professors. And to be honest, they were the funniest and probably the most talented in that school. And whether they believed it or not, I acknowledge that God gave them those brains and gave them those minds and gave them those skills and talents to do the incredible, extraordinary work that they were doing. Some people just have the notion that Christians are, you know, like homophobic and they just don't talk to the LGBTQ community, and it's not true. I love the conversations that I have with them and the rest of my classmates, and I learned so much from them. Seriously, some of them like saved my butt during finals week. I loved on them just as I know Jesus would have loved on them if he was on earth in those classes. What kept me grounded in my faith and, you know, being a Christian during that time was being surrounded by believers and having positive friendships around me, even outside of school. I actually had a few friends in fashion school who are also believers, and you know, that was nice because it's like you got your brothers and sisters in Christ with you in there. And I obviously went to church, and I was a dance teacher at a Christian college there too, so which helped with accountability. And my family obviously being very Christ-centered and everything, and being really strong believers too. I learned so much from those two contrasting schools, and I grew in my faith tremendously, and I just made sure to love everyone just as Jesus loves everyone. Those were my takeaways and lessons of being a Christian fashion student. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I, again, am so sorry for the background noise. It honestly sounds like someone has a remote control car just outside my window, and they're just like, "Arr!" Thank you guys so much for watching. I honestly really appreciate it, and making it to this end. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, especially if you yourself are a Christian going into the fashion industry or attending fashion school. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye!